Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalatu wassalamu ala rasulih nabi al-kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmeen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much all for being here. We have our honorable guest today, Mr. Farhan Noor. He is the head of capacity building at AAOIFI, and he is always very kind and very supportive of Taif whenever we have invited him for any of our events. He has always tried to, he has a very busy schedule and he travels as well a lot. But despite that, he is always very willingly available for us. Although like today was a working day, but we said that AAOIFI has recently introduced this new qualification, which is the Certificate of Proficiency in Financial Accounting Standards. And it is the right time, and there cannot be any other right person other than him to actually tell us about this qualification. And so we requested him to be with us today, and he is very kindly here. He will be taking us through the qualification, his details, and it's a good opportunity for you to actually learn from the one who has the most knowledge about the subject. Thank you very much, and welcome, Brother Farhan. We welcome you once again, and we really appreciate your presence here, and we'll try our best to gain as much knowledge about this qualification and other qualifications of AAOIFI from you, taking advantage of your presence today. The mic is yours, brother. Sir, Bismillah.
Thank you so much, Brother Zia, for the kind and such a heartwarming introduction. Jazakallah khair. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi majma'een. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. My dear brothers and sisters and elders, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I must thank Taif Digital Institute for having this webinar, for inviting me, and for giving me this opportunity to interact with all the attendees today. Thank you so very much indeed. I must also thank the attendees for taking the time out, for being here, and for participating in this event. I just hope and pray that this interaction between us today proves to be useful to all of you. Inshallah and Ameen. Okay, so the objective of today's webinar is to introduce you to the first certificate program launched by AAOIFI, which is a certificate of proficiency in financial accounting standards. And what we'll try to do today is understand why should you and how can you get this certification. Okay, now these are the main points we will cover today. To begin with, we will talk about AAOIFI as an organization, its value proposition, and its geographical footprint. Next, we'll talk about the various capacity building offers of AAOIFI. Those include the fellowship programs, the certificate of proficiency, of course, and the professional workshops as well. Next, we'll talk about the differences between the Cpa and the Cpa program. And this is something that I've been asked about a lot since the launch of this program. Next, we'll dive into the details of the program itself in terms of what the curriculum is, how the candidates will be tested on their exam, the program fees, and whether there are any discounts offered, and what the examination dates are going to be. Okay, and finally, we will talk about how you can study for and pass this certificate. Okay, so let's begin with the first agenda item, which is the introduction of AAOIFI. Now, if I were to describe AAOIFI in just one sentence, I would say that AAOIFI is a not-for-profit organization which develops standards for the global Islamic finance industry. So there are basically three components to this equation. The first component is that AAOIFI is a not-for-profit organization, which means that the work that we do is not driven by profit motive, and it's only done for the best interest of the industry at large. Okay, that's the first. The second thing is to do with the fact that we develop standards. And more specifically, when we say that we develop standards, what we mean to say is that we clearly define what's the minimum requirement as well as the best practice in the fields of Sharia, accounting, auditing, governance, and ethics. So that's point number two. And point number three is that we develop standards for the global Islamic finance industry, not just a single country or a group of countries, or not just a region or a group of regions, but for the entire Islamic finance industry. And moreover, we develop standards for all the sectors of Islamic finance, be it the banking sector, the takaful or the insurance sector, or the capital markets. So this is, in a nutshell, a description of what AAOIFI is and what it does. Okay, there are 6 founding members and about 140 active institutional members representing not less than 37 countries. Okay, so these are the organizations which founded AAOIFI, and there are some organizations which are supporting AAOIFI on an ongoing, long-term, continuing basis by being an institutional member. Now, this is an important slide, and I just want to make 2 very important points here. The first point is that, I said earlier that we develop standards in 5 areas: Sharia, accounting, auditing, governance, and ethics. Now, you might be led to believe that these are independent areas of standard setting. That is, these are all independent, distinct, and disconnected with each other. But nothing could be further away from the truth. These are not independent areas of standard setting, but rather these are interdependent, interlinked, interconnected with each other, such that one area of standard setting actually complements and value adds another area of standard setting. Unfortunately, time will not permit me to go into the details of this, but this is something that I want to specifically highlight for you. And the second point I want to make is, and this is quite important also, is that if you want to master Islamic finance, and I'm sure that you want to, then the starting point of all your knowledge base and skill set, irrespective of which profession you belong to. I mean, you could be a Sharia scholar or an accountant or a risk management specialist. Whatever the profession may be, you should first master these 5 areas of standard setting and the 112 odd standards that we have issued in these areas over the last 30 years or so. In other words, what I'm actually trying to say is that in order for you to become a master of Islamic finance, you need to master the AAOIFI standards issued in these 5 areas specifically. Now, you might be thinking as to whether AAOIFI standards are actually adopted by any country or regulatory jurisdiction in the world. The fact is that the AAOIFI standards are most definitely adopted and adapted and referred to by many jurisdictions in many countries. From the slide, you can see for yourselves that there are 31 countries and 35 regulatory jurisdictions which recognize Sharia standards. There are 35 countries and 43 regulatory jurisdictions, 36 countries and 43 regulatory jurisdictions which recognize the accounting standards, and 35 countries and 40 regulatory jurisdictions which recognize the governance standards. Now, this has important implications for you. If a country recognizes AAOIFI standards, then it's clear and it's obvious that there will be demand for AAOIFI fellows in that respective country. And as the adoption rate and the recognition rate increases in that respective country or in other countries, the demand for AAOIFI fellows will continue to increase. And this can be or should be one of the reasons why you should get an AAOIFI fellowship, or an AAOIFI certificate, because these fellowships and these certificates will open doors of career opportunities for you, inshallah, in different parts of the world. Okay, now let's talk about the capacity building programs of AAOIFI, and more specifically about its ecosystem. So from the outset, you can see for yourself that there are 4 components of this ecosystem: the governance, value offering, support for fellows, and the infrastructure. On the governance side, we have 14-member AAOIFI Education Board. Let me show you the names and faces of these members as well. So these are the 14 members of the Education Board, representing not less than 10 different countries. And these are the this Education Board has set up 3 committees: the Curriculum Review Committee, the Examination Review Committee, and the Translation Review Committee. Now let's go back to the ecosystem slide. The point I want to make here is that we have established a robust governance framework for the delivery of capacity building initiatives and activities of AAOIFI. And this is important to ensure that there are absolutely no compromises whatsoever on the integrity, transparency, and the independence of our value offerings. Okay? And when we talk about value offerings, we offer 2 fellowship programs, 1 certificate, and some professional workshops as well. The 2 fellowships are the Cpa and the CSAA programs, and we'll talk about those fellowships as part of the next agenda item. And the new certificate which we have launched in February 2022 is the Certificate of Proficiency in Financial Accounting Standards. And this is, again, we are going to talk about shortly, inshallah. Next, we also offer support to AAOIFI fellows, that is, those who have passed the Cpa and the CSAA programs. The red highlighted boxes mean that these are the offerings which we are currently working on and which are not ready. In terms of networking, we believe it's important to connect the AAOIFI fellows with each other. There are about 2,000, in fact, actually more than 2,000 fellows in not less than 51 countries. We also want to help the fellows build their careers and gain access to challenging opportunities worldwide. And one of the ways is through recognizing them for memberships in AAOIFI Education Board and subcommittees as AAOIFI Master Trainers and so on. So at the end of the day, we believe that AAOIFI fellows are part of AAOIFI family. And as such, they must be connected with each other, support each other, and help each other as much as they can. And our role in all of this is basically to provide the platform and to facilitate the interaction between them. Next, and the last component of the ecosystem is the infrastructure, which allows us to do what we must do. So for example, we have partnered with TAIF Digital Institute and maybe 70 other institutions from different parts of the world as a candidate registration center for the promotion of AAOIFI fellowship programs and certificates and professional workshops. So this is, in a nutshell, AAOIFI's capacity building ecosystem for you. And obviously, it will always remain a work in progress. The reason why I showed this ecosystem for you is so that you can contextualize where exactly this certificate of proficiency is coming from and where it actually fits in the grand scheme of affairs. Okay, so I wanted to set the context for the content to follow. Okay, now let's talk about the Cpa Fellowship, the AAOIFI Fellowship programs. Like I said earlier, we have the Cpa program and the CSA program, and both the programs were launched in 2007, 15 years ago. Cpa was revamped and relaunched in 2017, and which consists of 4 modules and 1-year practical experience requirement. The Cpa curriculum is currently being updated and should be ready by year-end, inshallah. The CSA curriculum is also being currently revamped and we should also be ready by year-end, inshallah. And this is a certificate, the first certificate program of AAOIFI, which is a certificate of proficiency in financial accounting standards. And it was launched just a couple of weeks back, actually, in February 2022. Now you might be wondering as to what exactly is the difference between the Cpa program and the Cp Fast program. And there are quite a few points of differences which I'd like to highlight today for you. First, to become a Cpa Fellow, you need to pass 4-module exams and complete 1-year practical experience requirement. Whereas for the Cp Fast, we only have 1 exam and there is no PER requirement, practical experience requirement. Second, on average, it takes about 1.5 years to become Cpa Fellow, 6 months to pass all the modules and 1 year to complete the practical experience requirement. Whereas for Cp Fast, it takes 6 months at max, and that too because the exams are 6 months apart. So if the exams are 4 months apart, then it would take you 4 months to pass the program. Third, the Cpa curriculum consists of not only financial accounting standards, but also the Sharia standards, auditing standards, governance standards, and the ethics standards, including other relevant topics as well. Whereas Cp Fast is exclusively based on financial accounting standards and no other topic is covered. And this is perhaps one of the most important distinctions between the two programs. Fourth, we know that Cpa covers financial accounting standards, but important to note here is that it covers only select financial accounting standards, not all the financial accounting standards. Whereas Cp Fast covers all the financial accounting standards as long as those standards are either currently effective or will be effective within the 8 months of the given examination window. Fifth, and this is obvious now, Cpa is a more holistic and complete qualification because it covers all the AOIFI standards, and in addition to that, it also covers additional topics as well, like risk management, for example. Whereas Cp Fast is entirely focused on financial accounting standards, which makes it a highly specialized qualification. Sixth, Cpa Fellows must complete 60 CPD hours to retain their fellowship status. Okay, and they must do this on annual basis, whereas there is no such requirement for Cp Fast. 7, Cpa Fellows pay an annual fellowship fee to retain their fellowship status, whereas there is no such requirement for Cp Fast. And lastly, the 8th point of difference between the two respective programs is that Cpa is a fellowship program. And by that, I mean that the program proves that the fellow's practical experience is complete or is adequate in implementing the AOIFI standards in real-world scenarios. Whereas Cp Fast is a certificate program and doesn't require the candidate to prove that they have practical experience of implementing AOIFI standards. So these are some of the differences, the key differences between the two respective programs. And I believe it's absolutely clear that the two programs are quite different and unique from each other with different objectives and different outcomes. Okay. Let's dive into the details of the Cp Fast program. First off, the curriculum. There are currently 28 financial accounting standards which are part of this certificate. And those are classified in 3 different categories, Part A, Part B, and Part C. Part A includes the conceptual framework. Part B comprises of the core standards, quote unquote, the core standards, and Part C comprises of the supplementary standards. Okay, so only those standards are included in the curriculum which are either effective right now or will be effective within the next 8 months of the given examination window. I'm repeating myself because I believe this is an important point, as the curriculum will be dynamic in nature and will keep on increasing and improving each year, inshallah. So let me show you the classification as well. As you can see that the standards are classified in these 3 different categories based on their market importance and relevance. And different weightages have been assigned to each of these standards. So for example, as you can see for yourself, FAST 28, which is on Muraba, has been given weightage of 7% and is classified under Part B category, the core standard. Whereas the standard on risk reserves, FAST 35, is given the weightage of 2.5%. What does this actually mean? This means that more questions will come from Murabaha, more difficult questions will come from Murabaha compared to risk reserves. And as such, more time needs to be invested by the candidates in understanding Murabaha standard compared to risk standard, the risk reserve standard. Okay, so these weightages are going to help you in understanding how much time and effort you need to put in to understand a given standard. So for part A and part B standards, candidates must study the rationale, the requirements, and the basis of conclusion for each of the standards. Okay, and for part C standards, the basis of conclusion will be exempted. Let me go back. Okay, so we will provide candidates with the PDF copy of all the standards as a single file, of course, and we will also provide a mock exam to candidates at least 50 days before the exam. So for the June exam, you will get the mock exam on 1st May, inshallah. Another point to note is that the certificate is unfortunately available only in the English language as of now, but we will make it available in other languages, like the most important language would be Arabic to begin with, in the years to come, inshallah. Okay, so the registration criteria. The registration to the CP FAS is quite simple and straightforward. It's basically open to all. And if you want to register, you must do so within the dates mentioned on the screen. So 19th May is for the June exam and 3rd of November is for the December exam. Okay, the exemptions. This certificate is a one exam certificate. So obviously exemption is not possible. Okay. However, if you pass the CP FAS exam, you will get exemption in the FAR module of the Cpa program, the Financial Accounting Reporting module of the Cpa program. Okay. Regarding the fees and discounts, the standard fee of the program is $750, okay? And we're offering a developing market discount based on GDP per capita criteria and Islamic finance market share criteria. So for example, if your country of residence is Bahrain, then Bahrain has high GDP per capita and high Islamic finance market share. This means that no discount will be applicable, unfortunately. But if your country of residence is Nigeria, for example, then Nigeria, we know, has both low GDP per capita and low Islamic finance market share. I believe it's less than 1% actually. So in case when both the discounts are applicable, then the higher of the two is applied, which will always be GDP per capita discount. That is 30% discount of the standard fee will be applicable for the candidate. Now the question is, how can you know in what category your country of residence falls in? I mean, is your country a high GDP per capita country, or is it a low Islamic finance market share country? This is something that needs to be tangibly established, objectively established. So to simplify this, we have prepared a table which is also uploaded on our website. The link is on your screen. So all you have to do is just find your country from that table and you'll be good to go, inshallah. Okay, examinations. Lastly, examinations topic, quite important. So like I said, this is going to be a one exam thing and it will be of 3 hours in duration. We will have roughly 100 MCQ questions, including scenario-based questions or vignettes. These exams will be held at AAOIFI examination centers, and these will be computer-based online exams. The first exam for the certificate will be held on 20th of June 2022, and the second exam, the last exam for the year, will be held on 5th of December 2022. Okay, now we come to the last discussion topic of today's event, which is an important question. How can you study for and pass the CP FAS program? Well, there are two ways. Number one, you either self-study like I said, we will provide you with the PDF copy of standards and the mock exam as well. If you have strong accounting background and working experience of using and implementing financial accounting standards at your respective institution, then you should be able to do this, as long as you put in the time and the effort, obviously. Or the second study option is that you can get training from different training service providers, such as Taif Digital Institute. I'm sure they will be launching the CP Fast training course shortly, hopefully, inshallah. We should definitely speed up your learning process and increase your chances of passing the exam, inshallah. So this is all from my side. Thank you so much for patiently listening to me. Let me say, admit and confess actually that there are few details missing from the presentation, but it's something that will be addressed in the following days, inshallah. That's why I would highly recommend you to visit our website for the latest and the newest update on the program. Thank you once again for listening to me. Jazakallah khair. The floor is now open for any questions that you may have. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
So if anybody wants to ask any question, please feel free to do so. Or if you want to make any comment.
Anybody can type in question in the Q&A tab. If you are comfortable, then we can turn on your mic with regards to specifically certificate of proficiency in financial accounting standards. This is the new course launched by AAOIFI. We're very happy. So there are a few questions in the Q&A. Question number one from Noor is, how does CPFAS converts to Cpa? Any exemptions?
Okay, I believe I've answered this question already. If you pass CPFAS, then you will get exemption in the FAR module of the Cpa program, the Financial Accounting and Reporting module. And this is the only way you will ever get exemption in FAR module of the Cpa program. There is no exemption criteria available for FAR except this. Brother Khwaja Ehsan Ilahi is asking for the presentation. Definitely it will be shared with Taif Digital Institute, and if they want to share it with all of you, you'll get a copy of it.
Inshallah, they will get a copy of it, inshallah, sir. Inshallah. If I have Cpa, is it worthwhile pursuing CPFAS?
Above it, from Brother Musa, he's asking for clarification on discounts for the Nigerian candidates. I think I gave an example. Nigeria is one of those countries where you will have low GDP per capita and low Islamic finance market share, which means that you will get either of the two, the higher of the two, the GDP or the Islamic finance market share, which happens to be 30% discount in your case. So 30% of 750 would be the discount that you'll get. So if I have Cpa, is it worthwhile pursuing CPFAS? Yes, definitely. Like I mentioned, CPFAS is going to cover all the financial accounting standards, which are effective right now or will be effective within the 8 months of the given examination window. Cpa, on the other hand, covers only select financial accounting standards, some of the most important. So you might lose out on the other standards. So I would personally highly recommend you to enroll for the CPFAS program, even though you are a Cpa fellow. This will only increase your knowledge base, your skill set, and your experience, inshallah. How to get hard copy books of the AAOIFI standards. So we are currently in process of publishing the 2022 version of AAOIFI standards, the Sharia Accounting and Governance. The version available right now, unfortunately, is quite old. It's a 2015 version, quite old. Some of the standards, actually a lot of standards are missing from that book. So if you wait just a couple of more months, inshallah, you will have access to the newest, latest book, which you can order from AAOIFI website. Okay. If this new certification is passed, the 1 year practical experience would be exempted from Cpa. Now that's an interesting question, something which we did not think about, but I would personally believe that this would not be the case because fulfilling the 1 year practical experience requirement means that you're actually working on ground, hands-on, in a real-world scenario at an Islamic financial institution, using and implementing financial accounting standards in real world. Whereas passing a CP FAS is just passing another exam. So the two cannot be equated. Okay, but this is something I must admit that we did not think it through.
Yeah, maybe one thing, Brother Farhan, maybe you can think that people who qualify for certificate of proficiency in financial accounting standards, they may be exempted for FAR paper for Cpa. So because the coverage here, they must have covered much more standards than what is covered in FAR.
Definitely, it's done actually. It's done. Those who pass the CP FAS, they will get full exemption from FAR module.
Okay, great. Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is this certification going to add further value if someone has done CSPA certification? So if you want to build a career in Islamic finance accountancy, okay, if you want to build a career in Islamic finance accountancy, then I would strongly recommend that you pursue CP FAS. Not only CP FAS, but Cpa also. What is the standard price for CP FAS? As discussed, it's $750. Please, why do we have this specific course when the topic are covered by Cpa syllabus, and is it necessary for Cpa Fellow? Okay, so there are a couple of things. First of all, that not all the financial accounting standards are covered by financial accounting reporting module of the Cpa program. This I mentioned several times. So the scope of study in CP FAS is quite extensive. You need to understand the rationale, the requirements, and the basis of conclusion of maybe about 19 standards, 19 or 20 standards. This is not true in the case of FAR module of Cpa program, where we just cover select important standards. Okay, so this means that CP FAS is much more detailed, and highly specialized and technical and specialized program. Whereas Cpa covers all the AAOIFI standards with specific focus on accounting and auditing. So there are very clear differences between the two. I dedicated a slide on the differences between the respective two programs. Once you have the presentation with you, inshallah, go over it and you'll see for yourself that the differences between the two is quite stark. So after the conclusion of the certificate, will there be yearly payment for a renewal or something like that? No. No, like I said, there will be no CPD requirement, there will be no practical experience requirement, there will be no annual fellowship fee in the case of Cpa FAS. What shall be the fee for first and subsequent exam attempts? That of maximum 30% discount. What are the exam registration dates? Now, in my concluding remarks, I said that there are some important details which are missing from the slides, and this is one of the things which is missing, and this came up when I was developing the presentation for this event, that what would be the subsequent exam attempt fee. So this is something that the management will agree, and the information will be uploaded on the AAOIFI website, inshallah. Okay. How do you qualify 1 year experience for Cpa candidates? A candidate having a reasonable experience in an Islamic bank, let's say in Sharia, would be eligible for it. So there are two questions really. How do you fulfill the practical experience requirement? The details are mentioned on AAOIFI website. There's a 5-stage process. You identify a Islamic financial institution where you're going to work. You're going to identify an external supervisor who's going to supervise your progress reports and thesis and whatnot, and so on and so forth. So the stages of completion of PER is clearly mentioned on the AAOIFI website. You need to fulfill those. The second part of the question was, actually I forgot. Let me check. Yes, if you have reasonable experience in an Islamic bank, let's say in Sharia, would you be eligible for it? So the see, when you register for Cpa, you're automatically eligible. In fact, you're mandated to fulfill the practical experience requirement. I believe your question is about exemption. Will you get exemption on the basis that you have experience working on the Sharia side? Now, the exemption criteria is clearly mentioned on AAOIFI website. We offer 6-month exemption and full exemption. But I believe that working on the Sharia side will not help you achieve exemption from the 1-year practical experience requirement. But the details are mentioned on AAOIFI website. Please have a look at it. The current pass mark of Cpa should be looked into by AAOIFI. Actually, it's between 60 and 70%, and it goes lower than that as well, based on our experience of our understanding of the quality of the exam. So if it's very difficult exam, then we lower the passing percentage. But if it's reasonable, we keep it at 60, 65. But it's very easy. If the exam was very easy, then we make it 70%. So the decision is made by the Secretary General of AAOIFI, and this happens on examination on case-to-case basis. Not case-to-case basis. How do I say this? The decision is made on each of the examination window. Okay, for each of the examination. What will happen if someone has passed Cpa but yet to meet the PER requirement is that person is now working through to get his PER. Is AAOIFI going to nullify exam? Can you shed some light on this? Obviously, we are not going to nullify the results of his exams. If he has passed the 4 modules, he's passed it. Now, if it takes like 2 years, 3 years to fulfill the practical experience requirements, so be it. The onus is on the candidate himself to, compete on as soon as possible basis. But he may take time because we understand that the situation on ground may be not as simple for everybody. For example, we have candidates from Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, where there might not be much opportunity to complete this PER requirement, as there are no Islamic financial institutions there, or limited number of Islamic financial institutions. So we offer alternative to such students that they can submit 2 research reports. Okay, so the alternative to practical experience requirement is also available. Okay, I was told that Cpa will be offered in Arabic starting June. Where can we get Arabic materials for Cpa? Actually, Cpa Arabic has already been launched last year in 2021. So you can register for Cpa Arabic if you want. The first exam will be held in June. So the registration is not in June, but the exam will be in June 2022. And obviously, once you register, you will get 4 study texts in Arabic language, obviously, the 4 modules of the Cpa program. Those have been translated to Arabic, and those will be shared with you. The mock exams will also be shared with you, and your final exam will obviously be in Arabic language. Can we get the slide? Of course you can. And you will, inshallah.
I think we've reached all the questions. Thank you very much. Almost all the questions have been very well taken care. I see there was somebody who left, some Kapadia from the beginning. He was raising hand since the event started, but it seems he has logged off. I see one hand raised, so I will open the mic. Mansuru Dibayo, I'm going to allow you to speak, so be brief and ask your question. Hassan, can you kindly help me to unmute Mansuru? Hassan? Mansuru, you can unmute yourself and then you can speak.
Well, alhamdulillah. The message I want to, the question I want to read, I've already, I've answered to it. Alhamdulillah, not for now. Thank you.
Thank you. So your question is answered already. Okay. So Adam Abu Bakr, I'm allowing you to speak. So unmute yourself and you can speak now. Adam Abu Bakr, you can speak now. Can you hear me? Okay, I think Adamu, can you hear me? Okay, I think his.
Assalamu
Yes.
alaikum warahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, Adamu, please go ahead.
Alhamdulillah, first of all, I want to thank you for the presentation or series of the presentations. Since we met in last 2 years, I started attending your series of the presentation conferences and then the workshops. I want to thank you all in the Secretariat, Jazakumullahu khairan, for the concern, maybe concerning this financial accounting and the core subject related to that. I don't have any question, but I used to send some observations. I don't know whether they are in the line or not. So I want to seize this opportunity to lay them again. And issue of participating, alhamdulillah, I am an academician. I used to attend this series of presentations and conferences in order to get more knowledge. Two things I want to know. One, way of having all the presented slide or papers from the presenters, because they are useful to me and they have more advantage in my career. Two, whenever I attended one or two or series of these conferences or presentations, I don't know whether I can send a request to have letter of attendance or certificate of attendance or something like that, because it is an additional advantage to me too. So this is my two requests. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.
Thank you very much. Although these two, both of them don't relate to the presentation from Brother Farhan, but I will take this opportunity. Maybe some other of you are also interested in knowing. All the webinars and all the programs that we do are available on our YouTube channel. Even once this program is concluded, so TAIF YouTube channel, this program recording will be uploaded on TAIF YouTube channel. Normally, we send the certificate of participation and the link to the recording of the program to each of the participants. So if you don't receive an email from us with the certificate of participation, you feel free to write to us at contact@taiflearning.com, and we will be more than happy to support, inshallah. I think there is no more question, and yeah, somebody has added the comment, but you have already covered it in your previous comments that the book is quite old. The version of the standard is quite old, and you have already covered that you are updating it, and soon they will be available, inshallah. So thank you very much, Brother Farhan, for your very informative presentation, and thank you very much for your kindness to spare some time on one of your working days, busy working days. And I also want to thank all of you to be here on this working day to learn more about this new qualification. AAOIFI has started a series of workshops as well, the details of which you can see on AAOIFI website, as well as if you go to the LinkedIn page of TAIF, you can also see some of the very informative workshops and capacity building programs are being planned, and they are registering those students for those plans, and you are invited to actually benefit from that as well. And with this, thank you very much all, and thank you, Brother Farhan. We would love to have some concluding comments from your side before we close this session.
Jazakallah khair for giving me the opportunity. Like I said, it's important that we discuss this new program. The details are out there, but sometimes it's difficult to understand exactly how this program will work out. What are the different intricacies involved? What exactly is the fee, and how the discounts will be applied, and so on and so forth. So this gives an opportunity to all the Islamic finance professionals to come on a single platform and discuss a topic of mutual interest. You obviously created this platform, so congratulations to you, and thank you as well. I want to thank the participants also for asking very important and serious questions. That's it from my side. Inshallah, we'll have more of such sessions in future as well. Assalamu alaikum from my side.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much all. Keep following the news from Taif on our LinkedIn and our social media pages. Many more exciting programs are lined up, and some of the webinars and some of the new courses, very exciting new courses are in the pipeline. With this, I would like to thank once again all of you, and especially Brother Farhan. I would like to conclude this session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This session is hereby concluded.
Wa alaikum assalam.